Yo, we're back again, episode 80. Different little vibes, you know what I'm saying? We trying to stay up with the times. We some old men, so we gotta, tap into what the kids is doing nowadays. So we just trying to get our content game up. I feel like the audio is there. We just need to come off a little more sexy. Hey yo. But
Trying to
hey
be like the
man,
cool kids.
facts, man. Speaking of the cool kids, man, Buffalo bitch ass dog.
Damn, yo, I hate the rig talks of the NFL because there's some stuff that just doesn't make sense that be going on, and one of those things is like the Tampa Bay game where they had a timeout left with the Lions in like deep field goal territory, and they didn't even call a timeout; they just said the clock ran out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was crazy, bro. Man, I don't wanna attack you, Quincy, but the most I've seen of that was that the year that the New Orleans had the flood, bro, and they won the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
That was some of the most questionable play calling. I
Oh,
mean,
Katrina again?
refereeing that I ever seen in my life in the playoffs, bro.
That's
Dog.
exactly why I said the Ravens are gonna win. It's the story, bro. Every year there's some
No,
kind of story.
but did you hear the news story about the referee they got for the Ravens and Chiefs game? Is like anti-Ravens. So the script
Oh,
is to make the Chiefs win that game.
for real?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's like
didn't
one
hear
of the
about that.
I didn't know
yeah, it's
about
like one
that.
of the worst referees to ref against the Ravens.
Mm.
Yo, you know what's
Yeah.
funny to me? And this is kind of like off topic, but it ties into the reffing thing. It's like there's such a human element to so many things that are supposed to be like, just based off facts or whatever. And like a big example, obviously, is like the government and things like that. Another thing that's been coming up a lot is like gatekeeping with like the Cat Williams conversation on the Shannon Sharp podcast. I heard Bobby Lee speaking on it on a podcast recently too, Bobby Lee, the comedian. And I feel like the gatekeeping thing is kind of funny because I don't even really see it as gatekeeping. It's just whoever has the power, they're gonna put people on that they like. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And if you're not one of those people that they like, then you're shit out of luck in that situation.
Yeah.
I don't look at it like, oh, this is like some kind of malicious thing, which it definitely is in some cases. And there's obviously, specific cases that different things happen for certain reasons that we don't know. But in most cases, it's like, bro, like, look at it this way. Us three do a podcast together. If one of us got some kind of deal or hook up to work with like a company that does
Mhm.
podcasts or stuff like that, the first people we're going to put on is the people we're doing a podcast with.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody will look at that and say they're gatekeeping. Us, we look at it like we already know these people. We already work with them. We already know that they're gonna have the work ethic, and it's gonna work hand in hand.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people talk about the gatekeeping thing, but I mean, one of the things we learned quickly is it's not what you know, it's who you know. I mean, that's in everything. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like not just entertainment. Like, that's just normal trying to get a job. Like, you know what I'm saying? You may be the most qualified candidate, but you know nobody in the building. You know what I'm saying? And it's not gatekeeping. It just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, facts. That was one of the things Bobby Lee was talking about too. Is like when you're getting to a certain level, certain kind of money, more hands are involved, more people have their hands in the pot.
Mhm.
You got to fit into that structure. And if you don't want to fit into that structure, which he was saying he's one of those people that doesn't like to be in like those, stadium shows and those, big things that people are doing. He's like, the reason he's been successful is because he's kind of just stayed in the lane that he feels comfortable in. And he's been able to have longevity and make a lot of money, do the things he wants. And even though he has that knock against him that he don't have that special, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because when you're a comedian, that's the thing. Like you need a good comedy special and it needs to be hilarious. You got to have a good hour where it's like classic, quotable lines and everything. But he don't have that because that's not really his desire, motivation. And it brings up an interesting thing of like being lazy versus picking your lane and finding the peace in it. You know what I mean? And obviously there's like a lot of extremes on either end of that spectrum and even like in the spectrum. But there's a big confusion with people, I feel like, where it's like, and I always go back to the Jay-Z and Nas thing. You know what I mean? Because that was a big argument back in the day. Who's better, Jay-Z or Nas? Who won the battle, Jay-Z or Nas? And people always brought up things that didn't have anything to do with the music. And my
Yeah.
point of view was always like, bro, we're looking at this as a music thing, and it's an opinion at the end of the day. But when you talk about music, you don't bring in who's got what wife, who has a record label, who made a deal for this amount of money. You know what I'm saying? Like that has nothing to do with the merit of the work. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. I
And
feel
that's
that.
something. Yeah, that's something with the it doesn't really tie in too much to the gatekeeping thing, but just from the point of view of when people kind of want to put somebody in a box, like with Bobby Lee, like they were Bert Kreischer was basically calling him lazy on the podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're like why aren't you less lazy? Basically, you know what I mean? And Bobby Lee was looking at it like, I'm not lazy, bro. I just don't want to be in the circles that you're in. And
Yeah.
you view that as a step up. You view that as like a holy grail type thing. I don't view it that way. I view it
Mhm.
like I'm doing what I want to do, what I like to do. I'm successful at it.
I
I'm
think
more
he's original, bro. I love everything that he's in. I think it's so original the way he does it.
Bobby Lee you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like what he was saying, you know, he knows what he brings to the table. He knows he kills it, and you know, that's enough for him.
Yeah.
And there's so much like and this kind of leads into Quincy's situation now, like that he's kind of adjusting into you know, having more on his plate, that it leads into that where it's like some people don't want to have more on their plate. Some people they don't want to have that situation. And that was something that Bobby Lee was saying, like he scales his lifestyle in accordance to how he wants to work. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Not that he's a broke dude or not that he's somebody that's not making money, because obviously he's making money, but you know, he's maybe not making, you know, these extra 500,000 extra whatever because he's choosing to be in the environment slash mind state that he wants to be in. You know what I mean? What do y'all think about that?
That's exactly what's going on with me right now. I literally just had that conversation in these last 48 hours. I was presented an opportunity, and this opportunity I always thought I wanted back in the day. And then now I'm just like, I don't know if I want that today, like where I'm at with everything I have set up. It's literally making a sharp right turn in the lane that I've set up since I've gotten back. And I thought about it for a while. I'm like, well, why just do it just because it's there rather than being the right time for it? So um, I did not take that opportunity. And I'm so glad I didn't. Like, and everybody I'm telling, like my wife and my family, it's like, yo, like I'm in such a good place with what I have set up and all the things I'm like progressing in my life outside of my job. For me to give all that up just to 100% be on my job again, like I don't know if I want to do that. And that right there was one of the biggest decisions I had to make in a while. And I'm happy with it. Like I'm not second guessing it or anything.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I mean, I think for me, I just feel like do what works for you. Like I feel like anybody and everybody should always be doing what works for them. Like I remember when I was dead broke and working on music, I couldn't even afford to go to a studio, but people that were around me was like, "Yo, if you're not going to the studio, you're not serious." But for me, I was like, "Bruh, I played a long game. Like let me get my money right so that I can do it myself." You know what I'm saying? And now fast forward, I got a studio in my crib. You know what I'm saying? And those same people that were saying you're not serious about music no longer do music at all. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So it's like
you're the most
what
serious
may
one
be
right
yeah,
now.
what may be successful to somebody else doesn't mean it's not successful to you or vice versa. It's like do what works for you because at the end of the day, I wanted to have peace within my life whether I was getting it through music or not. You know what I'm saying? And financial stability and that's what I've attained. So like I don't know. I just feel like at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do for you.
Yeah. I mean, at the risk of sounding like the barefoot guy at a music festival, success is a construct of the time that you're in. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like success today might not be success in 15 years. Success today is not the same. Like even like what you're saying, Quincy, there's major artists now that they just record at home. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like that's not even a thing anymore
Yeah,
where you have
wasn't
to
that
go to a
one
studio.
producer who does everything on his iPad and he's never used anything other than that
Ninth Wonder
Mhm.
for the last I don't know how many years he's been producing on the
on
iPad.
his iPad?
Yep.
It's
I'm
crazy.
sorry, I don't remember if it's Ninth Wonder or Madlib. I know it's one of them for sure. But I know Ninth Wonder was one that he was on the Fruity Loops wave for a long time. For people that don't know, Fruity Loops is like a music production program where you can just kind of program an instrumental in there, and it's all virtual. But a lot of musicians use it because obviously it's a cheap and easy way to put together an instrumental without having to get musicians, people playing, and basically to be able to do it on your own. And it's always been looked at in the industry. And back in the day, it was looked at in the industry like kind of like amateur entry level. Like you can't really produce records on Fruity Loops because it's not like one of the high end programs.
Yeah.
But now you see a whole bunch of people, most people use Fruity Loops when they do production nowadays. You know what I mean? Especially like in hip hop and stuff. And, going back to the success thing, like 15, 20 years ago, you would have been cooking up in Fruity Loops. They would have looked at you like you was a fool.
Right.
And even when you think about 3 6 Mafia, bro, it's random, but they have a studio in their house. Juicy J did, and the song that they won a Grammy for, they did it in that studio. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, obviously, they had it set up different than what our home studios is like because they got a bit bigger budget, but it's still a home studio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny, man, because going back to the music, like you was talking about, Quincy, right now I'm really big into production. I'm trying to do my own thing as far as like producing my own records, mixing my own records, mastering my own records, so I can release stuff without having the constraint of what you talking about, Quincy, budget. Because at the end of the day, music is super expensive to make if you're doing it quote unquote the right way. You know
Right.
what I mean? And if you don't got legit 5 G's extra a month to do your music, you're not gonna do it the way that is quote unquote right.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get creative and you got to figure out ways to still make music, still put something out for the people that's tapped in that are fans, but also not be able to kind of lean on the excuse of the money, not lean on the excuse of, oh, I don't have this resource or whatever. So you got to kind of figure out a way to do it. And it's the same thing in every industry, same thing in every creative endeavor that anybody does. And you can't get too caught up in like what everybody else is saying as far as like, oh, what you need to do or how you need to do it. Cause it's like you said, Quincy, a lot of the people that's gonna tell you you doing stuff wrong or you got to do it this way to do it right, they're not doing anything anyway.
Right.
So it's like those people are always gonna say something. And that's the thing about people online, the comments, all that stuff. Even the people coming at Bobby Lee like, "Oh, you're a lazy comedian" or whatever. It was the interviewer, but it's also been a sentiment that they've brought up to him before, as far as like the way he operates. And it's like, bro, he's a successful guy. He kind of does stuff on his own, and he was talking about Cat Williams in the same breath that I was kind of talking about him, as
Bro has
far
like
as
3 different podcasts.
yeah, and he's monetizing all of them, and they're all big.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And he was saying that he wishes he was like Cat Williams in that sense of he's so free and he can go on a podcast and say that and still have his career, not have to worry about anything because he's not trying to be cool with any of these people anyway. You know what I
Right.
mean? That was kind of like my thing when we were talking with Jari. He had great points, and the way I was looking at it was from that point of view. It's like I'm not really so caught up in exactly what he was saying. I enjoyed the idea that he could say it and
Mm-hmm.
say it in a freeing way where it's like you can check him, you can say he's lying, you can say whatever you want, but at the end of the day, he said whatever he wanted and nothing changed in his life. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he just said it and he kept it moving.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of like the thing in those kind of situations, those kind of people, and that's like something myself that I strive for. Just in business, everything I do, my music, everything. I don't want to ever be strapped to something where it's like I can't do things the way I want to do because I don't want to ruin my situation. It's like my situation is my situation. I create my situation. So whatever I want to do, I'm gonna do. I'm gonna
Mm.
do it the right way and I'm gonna work hard at it, but I'm not gonna do it in the construct of what somebody's telling me I have to do it in.
Right.
Even with the music, bro, like a lot of the stuff that I've been doing on my own, a lot of people from the beginning of when I started making music, a lot of the stuff that I've done on my own, people have told me like, oh, like you said, Quincy, oh, you're not doing it right. Oh, you got to do it this way. Oh, if you don't do it like this, you're never gonna do this. But a lot of the success that I've had musically has been stuff that I've done right here in this studio that I'm in right now, which is at my house. You know what I mean? I
Right.
converted the garage into a studio, and
It's
in
fire too.
here is where I do appreciate it. In here is where I do pretty much all my content And I do some of it outside. Obviously, I have people that I collaborate with, people that I link with. But at the end of the day, what I'm doing is what I'm doing. And I'm the only one that cares about it that much that's going to be doing it night and day. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And the people that listen to my stuff and the people that, support my music and everything, I've never ever had anybody reach out to me and say, "Hey, the quality on this doesn't sound like that one," or "Hey, did you record this in the studio?" Or you know what I'm saying? Like even like the content that I've put online, a lot of the stuff that performs the best is stuff that I shot on my phone. I
Mhm.
spent thousands of dollars on videos, setting up different things, studio sessions, instrumentalists, people that play instruments, engineers, produce all this stuff. But at the end of the day, the stuff that I'm doing myself is what's connecting with my audience because it's me. And that's who I want to connect with, people that like me and like what I'm doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
That was one thing that is funny, man. One of the dudes that we were working with in Atlanta, Quincy, one of the dudes we don't work with anymore, he gave me a great tip, bro. He was like, whatever you gonna do that's gonna put you on, that's what they're gonna expect out of you. So you got to be real conscious of what you're doing if it aligns with who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I always took that advice and I always kept it in my forefront because it makes sense, bro. It's like a lot of these people, and it's funny because when we're on social media, you always see different posts when you're scrolling in Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Posts that are viral just for being viral. Like the post itself is like a little video and said how I got a million views on my reel or whatever.
Mhm.
It's like, all right, cool. You're reaching people with this, but you can't convert that into anything most of the time.
Right.
Especially like if I put out a video and say, hey, this is how I got my video to X amount. All right, cool. But are they gonna listen to my music just because I'm telling them I got this
Yeah.
viral? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and it's kind of something me and Quincy was talking about off air before, where it's like you see a lot of these celebrities, you see a lot of these people online, they're getting these numbers and you're getting enamored by the numbers, but the numbers don't necessarily translate into dollars. Like Jari is a great example because his online presence isn't like amazing for where he's at professionally. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it definitely doesn't match up with what he's actually doing. But he's so focused on the reality of the situation that he's making the right moves. And even though people aren't necessarily looking at it, or you're not looking at his page and saying, "Oh my gosh, bro, he's on," or whatever, best believe he's putting in the work. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And even with this podcast, something we were talking about before we got on, it's like, how do we get this to the point where we know, I mean, to the position that we know it should and could be because of what we're doing, the type of content that we're talking about, the vision that we have for it, aligning what we're doing with the quote unquote outside appearance slash the exposure. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And that's something that's like super hard to navigate nowadays because back in the day it was, a team of 10 people doing what each one of us are asked to do individually now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And it's even overwhelming. Joe was talking about it earlier. Like he's more of like an extroverted person in real life. He'll go out there, meet people, introduce himself. He's a likable guy. People mess with him. But when it comes to online, it's like it's not that same thing, and it don't translate the same way. And you got to figure it out, and you almost got to be damn near a social media manager just to get your Instagram or whatever to the place you want it to be. And it's like we're not all on that type of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Nah, that's for damn sure. Because I know I'm not when it comes to the social media, bro. I tell my fiance all the time, man. If it wasn't for the music stuff, I probably wouldn't even be on it. You know what I mean? Just because I don't know, it's impersonal for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't keep up with people on it like I used to. I just kind of now I'm on it for sports and music, basically. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a different realm for sure.
I feel that, man. And even like for me, I'm like super just to myself. I'm real comfortable just being alone, just in my thoughts and stuff. So the social media thing is even more challenging for me because I don't even want to be consumed by it. I don't even care to, you know what I'm saying? I don't even care to
Yeah.
comment. I don't care to whatever. Like it's like I don't expect nobody to be keeping up with my stuff, so I'm not keeping up with their stuff. But then at the end of the day, I'm an artist and I'm still trying to reach my audience as an artist and trying to kind of marry those two things where it's like, how do I present my art in a way that is still satisfying to me as a person? You know what I'm saying? Like when I walk away from my phone, I'm happy with what I put out. You know what I'm saying? Because the social media thing to me is like inherently against my nature. So it's like a lot of the things that I do on it, I already feel like I'm compromising myself by doing it. You know what I mean? And it might be a too like a thing where I'm reading too much into it and I'm putting more stock on it than I should. But that's just how I feel. You know what I mean? Like the social media thing to me, there's a lot of you know, things that could really feed into bad vices and a lot of stuff there that even for me, it's like I look at it like, bro, I wouldn't care if somebody posted this. So why was somebody gonna care if I posted it? You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if it came across my feed, I'm not even gonna look at 2 seconds of it. You know what I mean? So it's just like a weird little struggle with it. And then it has to be weird the other way too, like for the people that really do care when they're spending all this time and really checking up on it and looking at the numbers and that got to be real disheartening too because it warps the way you're thinking. You know what I mean? It makes you think that you know it puts you in a mind state where you think people are against you when they're really not. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Something I've talked about before about the support. It's like sometimes we take people not supporting us very personally, but it's like, dog, like you know how you get wrapped up in your own life, you know?
Mhm.
And you just gotta apply that to other people. It's like that's why you gotta figure out a way to really do something that's really going above and beyond for somebody to say, yo, this is bringing joy to me and it's bringing happiness to my life. So I'm gonna carve time out for it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You gotta win, and you gotta win people over for that. And I think, like, when I did it, it was more social media was just starting. So there's an algorithm for social media, but there's an algorithm for real life too. If you see a certain group of people, and every time you see them, they trying to put you onto something, you don't really care about it, and then there comes a day where you're trying to put them onto something, they're going to reciprocate that energy.
Facts.
And same thing as an online algorithm. You don't show anybody love online. You don't wish them happy birthday. You don't like their pictures. When you drop something, they gonna not do it just for that exact reason. Like you don't like
Facts.
my pics. You don't
That's
show me love. So
that's
I'm
a
not.
funny
No
thing
matter how
too.
much I like your shit.
Yeah, that's a funny thing too, because I'm the type of guy that like I don't care about my own birthday, so I'm not even keeping track of people's birthdays. You know what I mean? Like it's just not a
Mhm.
thing in my world. Like obviously my kids, my wife, like my family, like people that are close to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll make an effort to at least wish them happy birthday, whatever. But if it's not like a group of like 10 people or less, bro, I'm not gonna wish you happy birthday. Like it's just not the thing I do. And a lot of people take that super personal,
Big
dog.
time.
The birthday thing for some people is like they'll base their whole relationship with you off of how
Oh yeah,
you treat them on their birthday, bro. And I've seen it with some people. You know what
I've
I'm
went
saying?
through it before with people. Yeah,
And it like to me it's like it's so crazy because if you could see it from my point of view, this is not even in my realm, and it's such a non-factor that if you could understand that, you wouldn't take it like if I'm trying you. You
yeah,
know what I mean? It's like even in the I always laugh about it in the office, like when Jim was trying to get Phyllis and Stanley to cover for him while he had
yeah.
the other job, and he's like, come on, we're friends, and he's like, we're not friends, whatever. He's like, oh, you know Stanley was like, whoa, so when's my birthday? And he's like, Jim's like, oh, that's not fair. When's my birthday? And Stanley's like, I don't know. We not friends. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah,
And it's like that same kind of thing.
yeah,
It's like, bro, like you're not even tuned into what I'm saying? Like what I
yeah,
got going on. So why are you taking it offensive when I'm not tuned into what you got going
yeah.
on? You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
But that's why I'm so intrigued by, as an artist, by the new fans and the people that actually appreciate me just for the music. Like I'm
Yeah,
very intrigued by that in comparison with people that know me outside the music and how they react. And
Yeah.
because like don't get me wrong, like I'm not expecting you to like the music just because you know me. Not at all. You know what I'm saying? But I am intrigued by those people that have no ties to me that are looking forward to the like having fans is actually really dope. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Yeah.
we don't have you have no reason to like me but because of the content that I put out and you like the content that I put out. and that's dope. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I can appreciate that. Like I have no hard feelings by, you know, only following like certain fans and like people I actually engage with. Like I unfollowed a lot of people because it's like you were an acquaintance at a certain time in my life. Like and I've accepted that. There's no reason for me to even fool myself into thinking that we're friends. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
facts. Bro, I unfollowed like I think it was like 600 people, and I'm still feeling the effects of it just from the point of view of how butthurt people got over it.
Hmm.
And like even as they keep figuring out that I unfollowed them, like as time goes, and it's kind of like the same thing you said, bro. If I met you one time 3 years ago at a random event and I met you through somebody that I'm not even really cool with, it's like, bro, I do not care what you got going on in your life, dog. I don't even know who you are. Like some of these people, I don't even know their real names.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not enamored with just seeing what people got going on and stuff like that. And I
Mhm.
don't even like stuff popping up in my feed that I don't know who they are or what they, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I don't like that kind of stuff. And it's funny, like you said, bro. You know, these people have like not a sense of entitlement, but it's just kind of like online they do, where it's like, you know, they feel like you owe them something with that follow or whatever the case is. And it's like, dog, this is not this phone thing. Like it's such a crazy concept to me just because it's not even a real world. It's kind of like just like a world in our heads that opens up when you open the phone. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's like, I don't know, man. I always have a hard time going back and forth on the social media thing and just kind of figuring out my footing and my place in it, because a lot of times I feel like I don't have a place in it. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of entitlement, man. There's a lot of a lot of people who feel a way that you must respond and interact with them. And that's just annoying. And that's what like, makes or breaks some relationships. If you didn't respond to something or react the way they wanted you to on an electronic digital platform, it affects the personal real life relationship, and that's just dumb. But it's just
Bro,
something that's part of this generation.
yeah, I had a conversation with somebody that was like telling me how like a few years ago they would get like 400 or 500 likes on.
You cutting out. You sound like you're like walking in the woods and you keep hiding behind the tree. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're talking and then you're hiding behind the tree and then you're talking again and you hide behind the tree.
Does it
Treat
sound
like
better?
that.
Does it sound better now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I was having a conversation with somebody that basically was like, a couple years ago they would get like, is it still cutting out?
Yeah, it's like it just drags out at the end. Like,
That's crazy because I've been sitting in the same position the whole time. All right,
nah,
I'm gonna
that's good,
talk a
good.
I
We
little
know,
good.
I know.
louder.
It's just starting out. It's weird.
That's
Yeah.
weird. But yeah, I mean, basically they would, they used to get like 500 likes on their picture, and now it's down to like maybe like 80, 90. And in their mind, they've basically concluded that like a certain amount of people don't mess with them no more, blah blah blah. And I'm like, bro, the algorithm is different. Like, you know what I'm
Facts.
saying? The algorithm has shifted
Mhm.
to present way more ads now than your posts. Like, and you're in your mind, you've really convinced yourself that so many people don't like you anymore when in reality they probably haven't even seen the post.
Yeah,
Facts. And kind of like you're saying, the ads and also Instagram is promoting stuff that gets a lot of plays right now. You know what I'm saying? The
Mhm.
stuff that people are commenting, sharing, all that stuff, like that's getting priority. So that's why even you're seeing a lot of stuff of people you don't even follow. Like a lot of
yeah,
times I
that's
go on my thing and
ridiculous.
it's like I don't even see people I follow until I get down like halfway through. You know what I mean? And
Facts.
going off of what you said too, Quincy, you know, like I got like 3,000 something followers on Instagram. Sometimes I'll pull up a post and I'll check the insights and it'll be like accounts reached 51. You know what I mean? It's just like, bro, I got 3,000 something people that chose to follow me. And most of them are music people because, like I said, a lot the people that I unfollowed, they unfollowed me. So those are people that I know for like that I know for real in real life. I've met and stuff like that. So all the
Yeah.
people that follow me really is just people that don't know me that follow me for the music. So even
Mhm.
the people that are following me for the music, looking for the music, they're not even getting my content. You know what I'm saying? And then you get into this like little rut where you're like, not a rut, but like you get on this wheel where you're like, okay, let me try this kind of concept. Let me try this kind of, let me change the look this way. Let me do this that way. Oh man, this one works. So let me copy this one. And then before you know it, you're not even worried about like the original content that you're making. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mhm.
You're just chasing that quote unquote good video that's going to give you that exposure or whatever you're looking for. And it's, it's a reason why, we've been talking a lot lately about just really pushing more like real things, like real events, real connections, just things that are actually going to be feasible and there when the algorithm changes again. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
It's gonna last through it.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because I've mentioned it on the podcast before too, where it's like if you as a person, anybody that's listening to this, just think about how many times you actually think throughout the day. I wonder about blank. I wonder if they're doing well today. Let me call them or let me reach out or whatever. We all do it every once in a while, but when you really think about it and you think about it as far as like days of the month, 30, a regular month, 31 days. How many of those days, how many minutes in that month are you spending genuinely thinking about somebody else, worrying about their well-being? You know what I'm saying? And even those people on that you are doing that with, it's a very short list. It's probably the people you live
Yeah.
with. It's probably your significant
It's
other,
my
your
wife
family.
and my direct family, and
Exactly.
Mhm.
sometimes my friends, but for most of the time, I keep up with my friends in the chat, so I just assume
Exactly.
they're all right. So
Mhm.
I don't really wake up wondering if they're okay unless I'm really concerned about one of them. But
Exactly.
it's not a big list.
No matter how cool you are with your friends,
Yeah,
like you exactly what you said, unless it's something going on that you specifically know and it,
yeah,
it's in your forefront of your mind, you're not just thinking about them. You're not just saying, "Oh man, I hope this guy ate today." You know what I'm saying? Like you're
Mhm.
yeah,
not thinking about stuff like that. So for you to think somebody else is thinking about you that way is like
yeah.
it just doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Far fetched.
It's definitely far fetched, and like so many people spend so much time just worrying, like, what am I doing for other people not to accept me? When it's
Yeah,
like, dog, these people are not even thinking about you. You know what I'm saying? They already
Mhm.
yeah,
made up their mind on if they're gonna mess with what you're doing or not, like a long time ago, and it just that's it, bro. Like,
Mhm.
we get so caught up in making supporters out of the people around us,
hmm.
and it's not a good game plan. It's not a feasible thing. You know what I'm saying? It's
I think
just
we've all run into that, and it's the same thing if someone tries to shove a Ponzi scheme or what's it called, a pyramid scheme down your throat. You can't shove anything down someone's throat if they're not
Oh,
welcoming it or ready for it. Regardless of what it is,
facts.
it's going to be reacted to the same way.
Yeah, and we can kind of wind down with this. It's kind of like being a salesman, even like they always teach salesmen, you do your pitch. If you don't hook them, move on to the next one. Why?
Hmm.
Because they're not going to spend X amount of time trying to convince that one person when they can hit seven other people in that time and maybe maybe get three out of those seven or two out of those seven, but
Yeah.
instead of spending that same time just trying to get one person. You know what I mean? And it's like that kind of salesman mentality in that sense, people should apply it to what they're doing. It's like, all right, I'm presenting this to you. You're not the type of person that likes it. I'm gonna keep it moving.
Yeah,
yep.
it's a good approach.
But yeah, man, I know last week we were talking about Quincy was just kind of get us settled in of coming back from the cruise and everything, and we were just kind of touching base, period. And but aside from that, we were talking in the chat about some little stories that he had about the cruise and like little interesting things, and we kind of started expanding on it, but we wanted to save it for the pod. So, Quincy, you want to go ahead and just kind of give your breakdown of your experience on the cruise? I know it was like a different kind of crowd, and that kind of led
Mhm.
into the thought that you had with it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So like prior to
Break
this
break
cruise,
down what the cruises too, like how many days, where'd you go? Because I think a lot of people like knowing cruise info. What line you use, where'd you go, how many days, all that stuff.
got you, got you. So yeah, prior to this cruise, I had only been on Carnival, and I do have one scheduled for Royal Caribbean. But this cruise was with MSC, which is a Italian-based cruise line. And it was
Are
a
they
7.
new or they've been around for a while?
They're fairly new. I know that they're fairly new to the US. I don't know how long they've been established, but I know that I got on a flight a couple years ago, and this older white guy had mentioned it to me, and then the fiance has found this boat like on a TikTok, and so she was able to set it up. But this was a 7-day cruise. Went to Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Bahamas, and Cozumel, Mexico. And like I mentioned before, it's an Italian based cruise line, so a lot
Just
of
real quick, just to
go
give the
ahead.
backstory on the cruise.
Mm,
MSC Cruises is a Swiss global cruise line based in Geneva with operations in Naples, Genoa, and Venice. So they're
Okay,
mhm.
that
actually
sounds good.
Swiss, but they're set up in Italy.
Yeah,
And they
exactly.
actually started in 1970 in Italy, but they're based out of Switzerland.
Got you. And so as of recent, I think they've kind of started to sail out of the US. And
Where'd
so
you leave from?
I left from Miami.
Interesante.
And so with that being said, a lot of the patrons, a lot of the guests on the boat
No
were
Patron.
were European based. And
Yeah.
so um before I get into that,
And they were
what I will
hometown.
huh?
They were hometown for that
Oh
cruise
no,
line.
facts. Yeah, big facts. What I will say though, before I get into that, was the experience was amazing, super organized. I mean, we were on the first day, we were on the boat by noon drinking already. Like
How do you compare it to Carnival, which that's been you've been on multiple Carnival cruises, so how do you compare it to that?
aside from the culture shock, I guess you could call it, everything else was better.
The
The
quality.
only thing, yeah, the only thing I would say probably isn't better than Carnival is just the aspect of Carnival is, more American based. So like the music is a little bit more American based. Like the music on MSC was basically like global. So you had a little bit of everything, which is okay, but that to me didn't really phase because I usually bring my speaker anyways and do my own thing. But aside from that, food was better, organization was better. Um, the experiences as far as like excursions, options, and all that kind of stuff was better. All of that kind of stuff was better. But as far as Carnival, being like the fun cruise, like if you're looking for the fun cruise,
That is a
yeah,
funny cruise.
you'll probably still have a better time on Carnival. But everything else, like for me, this was a great relaxing vacation. Um, but get into the other stuff.
The
Basically,
nitty
man,
gritty.
the nitty gritty of it. You have to like. Thankfully, we kind of prepared ourselves mentally for it because, my fiance is type A, like to the max. Like she prepares everything. So she had did her homework and looked it up and found out that like if you aren't familiar with MSC and the European culture, you will get familiar on the boat. And with that being said, it was just very different. Um, because the culture, and the way people are over there is just a lot different from the standpoint of like uh they have tunnel vision. They have tunnel vision. It's like, they're not worried about the people around them. You know what I'm saying? If we're getting in an elevator, if I'm standing at the elevator and they walked up, they're running inside that elevator. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Like that's in their mind, it's like, you
There's no
know,
situational awareness.
yeah, there's no situational awareness. Exactly. And I say that with all due respect because again, I don't know the culture there. Maybe the culture there is like that. Maybe that's not considered disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? I know that for me, I had to hold my tongue a couple times. But that was the only part or aspect of it that I didn't enjoy was just, the like I said, that cultural difference of the people that I was kind of around. Like
So
it
do
was
you
just
look for like a communal aspect when you're doing something like that? Like, do you enjoy like meeting people that you didn't know, like maybe sitting around somebody and
I think it's
talking to
just
them
common
like while you're
courtesy.
doing something, like, or is it more like what Joe's saying right now, where you just more wanting like a common courtesy?
it both, really, both. I
Both.
mean, the main thing was the common courtesy. I feel like that is just the natural thing. But again, like I said, it's natural for me. I don't know what's natural in Europe, or Spain or wherever. But I also, and this kind of goes to a con for MSC for me because I didn't even think about that aspect of it, Lester. When I'm on a cruise, and I'm drinking and I'm having a good time and everybody around me is doing the same thing, I have absolutely no problem talking to a stranger and sparking up a conversation. That's me though. You know, my fiance, she looks at me like I'm crazy when I do it, but I enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? On MSC, I wasn't really able to do that because a lot of them don't even speak English, you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So
So it's more your
so
own vibe type thing.
it's definitely more of like your own vibe.
Unless you're
And
in with them.
say that
That
again.
what?
Unless you're in with them.
Yeah,
Unless
yeah.
you exactly. Yeah. So I mean, other than that, had a great time. You know, there are some differences with you know, Carnival and MSC that they both had their pros and cons. From what I hear, Royal Caribbean is probably my happy medium. I haven't been on Royal Caribbean yet, but I will be in March.
Yeah, I've only
Um,
been on Royal Cruises, and obviously I don't have nothing to compare it to, but I've always had a great time, and I've never had any complaints.
yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I really hope it'll be a dope vibe. But yeah, I
But
enjoyed it
yeah,
for
man,
real.
when you was talking about it originally, and even when you talked about it now, it just really right away gave me that idea of being at Disney. Because when
Mhm.
you think about it, it's kind of the same crowd, a lot of international people, and every time I be at Disney, I got to be on my Wentworth shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
you got to kind of get your gully on a little bit because, like you said, bro, like nobody's gonna be courteous, so you got to kind of be a little cutthroat with the way you move, especially when it's
exactly.
busy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that definitely adds like an extra layer of like you're on, and even Disney is the same thing. It's a vacation vibe, bro. You don't want to be on some like, let me make sure somebody don't cut me in line,
Hmm.
that kind of vibe. Because it happens at Disney all the time, bro. We be in a line, person be behind us the whole time, and Disney lines, dog. You talking about 30 to like 2 hour, 30 minutes to 2 hour lines, bro.
Hmm.
Now you got somebody behind you for like 30 minutes, and then you know on minute 31 they get in front of you in the line.
Right,
And it's
right.
like, and you got to check them and you got to literally move them and get in front of them. Like, no, bro, you've been behind me this whole time. Get behind. And most of the time, they don't even speak English. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They from Europe, they from South America, they from Asia, they from anywhere. They coming from different countries, and they do not care, bro. It's like this is my experience. I don't care who's here, and you got to kind of be cutthroat about it.
Yep.
And that extra layer, my wife always says I don't like going to Disney, and it's like it's not that I don't like going to Disney. It's that when you're the man of the family, you going with a different mentality. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
because you
you
gotta protect
you
the family.
protecting your pack, you're
Hmm.
carrying all the bags and stuff, you making sure everybody's good. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Not
like
disrespected.
exactly.
Hmm.
So you're not really like just hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
especially bro, when the kids was small, dog, and we had that double stroller, bro. Oh my gosh, dog. I get PTSD from that, bro. Bro, if I had like a kid now, I don't know, bro.
Shoot somebody for that shit.
I might gotta throw him in the Oliver Twist home. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to deal with that again, dog.
Shit. Feel you on that.
But yeah,
Yeah,
man,
man.
I feel like that is kind of like I kind of equate it a little bit to like New York culture too, like as far as
Hmm.
like the tourists and stuff. It's like they're just kind of in that mindset of like I'm here to do what I'm here to do. If you lacking, too bad for you. I'm gonna get my stuff done, and if you don't say nothing, because that's another thing that I know. I don't know if I want to hear your take on it too, Quincy. But like in Disney, when people are like that, once you check them, they're most of the time right away they already know they back off. It's
Hmm.
almost like they're waiting for you to check them. You know what I mean? They're just
Hmm.
trying to see how much they can get away with. And
Exactly.
that bothers me too, because it's like,
It's like
bro, you know
it.
you're doing something wrong. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like you step back because you knew you was doing something wrong, but you still did it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like, why I
And
gotta
then
check you for you to not do something wrong? Like,
exactly, bro. Yeah, that
it got
that
to a point by like day three, bro. Like, I would hit the elevator and I was standing right in front of the door. Like, I want somebody to jump in front of me.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
fact.
But you know what? I think there's a slight difference too. It's like you bring up Disney, and I get it, but at the same time, we're the home team. You know what I'm saying? When you go to New York, it's the New York people. They're the home team. So I feel like on Quincy's ship, those people, because of where that ship is from, they were the home team. So they got that extra kind of battery in the back
hmm,
to act that way. You know what I mean? And so I think that gives a little advantage if it's like, oh, this is my hood. You know what I'm saying? Like the tourists
Yeah,
come here, but they don't claim it's their hood. They just act like they're in their hood.
hmm.
But it's people when you actually go into people's environment where they feel super the most comfortable, they're gonna be brave.
I
yeah.
tell you one thing, bro. It probably was like 30, 35 black people on that boat max.
That's
Out of
crazy.
what, 1,500, 3,000?
At least 3,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not that many, bro. And the few that we did run into, we was just joking, bro. We was like, yeah, man, it's a lot of salt, no pep on this mother.
Hey, I'm 2 months out from Norwegian 7 days. I'm looking forward to it.
2 months, you said?
Yeah, March
Nice.
16th
Where
for
you going?
mother-in-law's birthday, 7-year birthday. Wife's entire fam, my entire fam. It stops in the British Islands, the Virgin Islands, Dominican Republic,
Dope.
Bahamas, and Mexico. I think
Nice.
5 stops out of the 7 days. Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, cruises are dope, man. We talked about it before, but it's such a like carefree vacation, you know what I mean? Especially
yeah,
like I said, like whenever you're like the head of the household, a cruise is like heaven, dog, because it's like you can kind of let go of a lot of that, like having to take charge thing, because it's like they got the itineraries, they got the food, they got the buffet style food, so you don't even got to worry about who wants what. It's like, bro, we're gonna get the table. Y'all
yeah.
go get
No
whatever the hell
hotel.
you want. I'm gonna get
Yep.
whatever the hell I want. We just eat. Everybody do their thing. You don't got to worry about, at least for me, because I got kids, I don't got to worry about the kids getting into nothing crazy because, they got their little areas and stuff and they got
Hmm.
people monitoring all the time. So it's like super chill.
Mhm.
And that's just like, to me, is like the
Go
ultimate
play
vibe.
some pool. You can play some beer pong. You can play some bean bags. They got
And
a
I'm
casino.
deathly afraid of flying. So if I don't got to fly, I'm good on that,
But
bro.
you're not afraid of the waters on the ship?
Not, not at all.
You're not at sea? You never had rough seas?
I did one time. I had a cruise one time that they didn't let us get off on one of the stops because the water was too
No,
rough.
I'm saying, but all right. So one time I'm in like that grand staircase shit.
Uh-huh.
The probably the main staircase in the middle of every cruise ship where like all the pictures go
Yep.
down, everybody
Yeah.
meet. And if you looked out the windows on the right side of that, the boat was tilted sideways that it was just water all the way up to the top windows. All
Oh,
you
Sheesh.
that's
saw was water.
crazy.
That's how bad it was. Like these are the roughest wave I've ever seen. Like when we were eating dinner, I had to go to the end of the table because not one person at the table could see the water just going like this in the window in front of them.
Yeah.
Like it
Sheesh.
was the most insane. That's why I'm like, some people hate flying because that's a lot of what I heard that day. But you can deal with like rough winds and waters like that.
Yeah, facts. My brother's like that too. He's like scared of the water, and we always had that debate because it's like, bro, something happens to the boat, dog. That thing going down so slow, bro. And there's so many people here, and there's
The
so many,
band
like,
played.
you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, bro, like you're almost guaranteed to be all right. You know what I'm saying? Even like I have this like irrational thing, like it's like an irrational comfort
Rash.
when I fly to Puerto Rico because it's like I know a lot of the time we're over the water. So if something happens, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a stupid
Emergency
thought.
landing.
It's a stupid thought, but it's like, bruh, dog, flying to me is so unnatural, bro. I mean, shit, we don't got wings, bro. So that
Yeah.
flying shit, dog,
You can semi in the sky.
as much as I can avoid it, I will. Like that's even part of the reason why I don't got my passport, bro. Like I have no desire to go. Like I do have a desire to see certain things. Like I definitely want to see the Coliseum. I want to see like a whole
Machu
bunch of like,
Picchu.
yeah, Machu Picchu. Like I want to see a whole bunch of like historical sites and stuff. But I'm so scared of flying that the thought of I've been to like on a cross country flight, and that's like already too much for me. You know what I'm saying? So like if I am to do these international trips, bro, I gotta be loaded in money so I could do it like the most luxurious way possible so that
Yeah.
I'm not scared, bro. You know what I'm
G
saying? I have
L.
no hesitation to say that I'm the biggest pussy on an airplane, bro. When I get on a plane and there's any kind of turbulence or anything, bro, I'm tearing up. I'm holding the things next to me dumb hard. I'm thinking about everything I've done in my life. I'm wondering if I'm ever going to see the light of day again. I'm thinking about my kids, my wife, my family, the things that I haven't been able to do. Dog, I am going nuts that whole time, bro. Like, you don't understand. I hate flying with a passion. And it's crazy because me and Quincy been on a few flights. And at that time, when me and Quincy was on a few flights, like I went to LA a couple times. I went to Dallas. I mean, bro, I took mad flights in like this like 5-year period, but every time I was deathly afraid, bro. Like I only did it because I knew I wanted those experiences. I knew I couldn't live my life that way, being so scared, dog. But I was scared, dog. I was super duper duper scared, dog.
I feel you on that, bro. Definitely had those type of flights in my life.
Yeah, man. We went to Dallas. The Dallas flight I'm talking about, bro. There was mad turbulence. Like it was turbulent to the point where they was giving out free drinks on the flight, like to calm people down. You know what I'm
Dang.
saying? And that flight actually ended up being super dope because I was actually randomly sitting next to some NFL referees. And they
And
were
they
just
were saying
talking
how they were
about,
about to rig all of the games so I could lose all
bro,
my bets.
yo, facts. Nah, but they were just like telling like more like behind the scenes type stories and stuff. Like I don't really remember too much because everybody was drinking and you know what I'm
It
saying.
was like, yo,
But it,
Joe got Rashad White over 29 yards. We're gonna hold him back.
yeah, bro, it was crazy stories about like players that
Yeah,
got caught with drugs, but like something happened where they were able to kind of like sweep it on the rug and nobody found out. Different things that would happen at different parties and things. Bro, it was crazy, crazy stuff. And it goes back to what we was talking about at the beginning. Like these people are just people, bro. And whatever inclinations they have, they're gonna lean into those inclinations and you know, like I said, like there's players that have had situations that we just never hear about because they got the right people in place that are gonna conceal it. And then
covered
there's
up.
other players that rub people the wrong way that as soon as they mess up, dog, they ready to blow their whole shit up.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes back to that thing again, bro. It's like I mean, pretty much everything we've been talking about today has really just been like the differences in people and like how people do what they do and how they're just gonna do
How
what
to
they
make
do
it
regardless,
work.
bro.
Yeah,
That's just what it is, man. At the end of that's one of the things too. Like we like to talk about it a lot, and it's something that we enjoy conversing about. And I'm the type of person I like talking about stuff like this, but it's not something that I really think about like in my daily life. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
as far as like worrying about what other people think and
Like
stuff. Like
corrupt capitalism and communism.
yo, my dog, what were we even talking about? And then he just came out of nowhere,
Yeah, Quincy
like,
was highway. He was like Jaden Smith.
oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, that shit was funny, man. Like,
Sick of y'all.
yeah.
He said, "Bitch assholes."
Fucking Andre treatment.
The Andre treatment, dog. Yeah, that shit is so funny, man. It's
Wow.
so funny too. Like even the dynamics in the group chat, like it even goes back to what we talking about. Like sometimes you'll write something, bro, and it'll be like a day and a half before anybody responds, and you're like, all right, so fuck me, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's
But I
like the
think we
whole
got that honesty now, Bill. After all the years of having this chat, like everybody's like, "Hey, I don't care. I ain't talking about that shit."
Right.
yeah, facts. And it's funny because like you said, bro, when you start a chat, it's like everybody's responding to every
Yeah,
single
everybody's
thing.
trying to like
If they
not offend anybody.
Yeah, if they're not gonna write something, they make sure they react to the message. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
Yeah.
everything has a
I
reaction,
posted
bro.
that Drake and Central C link, and I was like, "Wow, okay, I'm never posting that again." Like, that song is cool though.
It's so bro, it's so funny, dog. And it's even like it happens when you like say a joke or something, like when you're playing Call of Duty and somebody else talked at the same time or something, and it was like
Nobody hears you.
that moment is just forever gone. And sometimes they
Yeah.
be bangers, dog. Like the jokes, like yo, it's so funny. Even like one of the jokes that I put in the chat today, it just lined up perfectly and it just worked out. And I would have been so hurt if it didn't line up the way it did because I just felt like it was such a slapper, dog.
No, I'm like that
Yeah.
too. I'm the kind of guy like if I'm telling a story, and I don't tell a lot of stories, but then if everybody cuts me off and I don't get to finish my story, I'm like, yo, everything I said will not make sense unless I say the rest of this. And like, no one's ever gonna hear the rest of this. I'm like, yo, no, hold on, real quick. Yeah, I gotta hear the rest
Yo,
of this.
facts. The worst thing is like when and it's like inadvertent, like when you build up a story so much because of the interruptions or whatever, and
Yeah.
then finally when everybody's ready to hear it, you're kind of like,
Well, fuck it. I didn't want
nah.
to tell you no
If
more.
you put it on this stage, it ain't that good of a story. But if it was like a throw-in story, how it was originally planned to be, it would have hit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
my
know this
wife.
is a I know this is a quick pivot back to the cruise stuff, but I just wanted to kind of say this while before we logged off. But my first cruise that I went on, I met this girl from some country in Asia. I can't remember her name, but basically, I just got to talking to her, and she was just kind of telling me, "What? Why you
Why you
laughing?"
saying like Kingpin, dog?
My back, I'm stretching my back out. Pause. But
This is like Power episode 3.
That's exactly why I said Kingpin, because you just look like you about to make a decision that's gonna fuck somebody's life up.
Yeah, comfortable.
man, I hate y'all, man. But nah, but anyways, like, so basically she told me that, like, she does the cruise things for like a year and a half at a time. And she stacks her
Okay.
bread and then brings it back to her family. And
Mm.
so, like, when I learned that about her, I kind of just started to, like, when you go on cruises, you get the person that cleans your room, you get your same waiters every night or whatever. You know what I mean? You get those people that you see every day, basically. And so, like, I always make it a point to, like, what I'm saying, try to get to know them for that week or however long I'm there. And so I found out this time that, my waiter, he was from Mexico. And I guess apparently, dog, the minimum wage in Mexico is $14 a day.
Mhm.
She.
$14 a day. So he said that what he does is he does the cruises for about 8, 9 months at a time. He stacks his money for his family, and then he goes back, and then he does like regular labor just to have time with his
Oh,
family.
they work the cruises.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. They work the cruises, and
At,
so then,
at first, I think they say just go on cruises for a year and a half.
oh, no, 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 they work them, and then so he'll do that, and then he'll do like 3 months of just manual labor in Mexico, so he can be with his family and spend time with them, and then
Yeah.
he goes back on for another 9 months, and that's how he brings bread into the household. And like, I don't know, man. I just think about that sometimes. I'm like, man, like, we complain sometimes about
Yeah,
stupid
but you
things,
know
and
what I
like,
do? When I go on vacation, I go on cruise, especially and wifey's fam knows when we went to the vacation in Mexico, like every single person who took care of us on a really good level, just genuine level, bro, we took care of everybody. Like
always, yeah, always.
everybody, every single day, every chance we got. We
Hmm.
didn't ask for anything without compensating them with something because we know
Facts.
what it's like, man. We know what
Yeah,
it's
bro,
like.
because they making real sacrifices, man. You know what I mean? Like, they
Yeah,
got
for
to
them
be
to
on this boat for
be in
9 months at a time.
that and like just serving us and like making us feel important. I'm like, bro, pay these motherfuckers. Just throw up everything
Hmm.
we got.
Yeah,
Facts.
facts. And then, man, just to kind of like wrap it up with that, you got people like that they dedicate their whole life to serving others, and they
Yep,
just keep
that's
their
what
head
that is.
down, work hard. They provide for their family, provide for people that maybe they don't necessarily have to provide for. They just take it upon themselves. You know what I'm saying? And those are the kind of people you got to think about when like you're saying, "Oh man, people don't support me" and stuff like that. It's kind of like you said, Quincy, bro. So a lot of people ain't even on that type of time. They got real things that they dealing with. So for for you to be like, oh man, why isn't this person, not you, specifically, just as a person, just saying, oh, what, these people ain't supporting my stuff or whatever. It's like, dog, even right now is like a tough time for people, period. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Just with the way financially things are and everything. So it's, you know, if it's something that you doing, bro, it's exactly that. It's something that you doing. So figure out the plan, try to execute it to it for it to get you to the level that you want to be at, not just the level that you feel like you need to be at or whatever is going to give you the clout or whatever. Just try to get it to the level you want it to be at and make sure you're happy and comfortable, bro. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters.
Facts.
Agree.
But yeah, man, I got a new joint dropping. I believe it's February 4th. Another one that I produced, mixed, master, wrote, performed, did everything. You hear me? And
Yep.
I'm just really locked in on that right now. I'm gonna have a lot more music that I've done myself dropping. Um, Aside from that, really, I'm just chilling, dog. Anything else y'all wanna throw in there before we hit the goodbye ski?
Yeah, man. Got a few songs myself that I actually wrote while I was on the cruise. Got a couple collabs with Side No Lie
Yes, sir.
coming
Freddie's
out
artist,
there
the homie
soon.
Freddie.
Yes, sir. So I got a few things working, man. I'm super excited. I'm finally kind of transitioned into both my jobs, doubled the income. Ready to get this thing going. Like you said earlier, Les, you know what I mean? This music stuff is not cheap. And I'm excited to be back in a situation where I can kind of get back on it. So yeah, man. I'm super excited for what the next like month and a half is gonna look like.
Nice. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, now my three goals for this quarter. It's three things I've said I was going to do for years now, and I haven't done. Is one of them is highly uh disputed as far as even you need it no more. Is my concealed weapons permit. I know in Florida as of July of last year you don't need it, but I feel I just want to be legit. You know what I mean? There are
Yeah. And
benefits
even
you get.
traveling, you can't travel if you don't got
Yeah,
it. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
There are benefits you get from having it. I want to have those benefits. I want to have the law. Wifey and I took the class. It was very informational. Like I know every single thing I didn't know before about carrying a piece, and I'm glad I did that.
Nice.
So did that. Another thing, I always want to get a motorcycle license. My father is a Harley driver, a rider, and we always dreamed about one day riding together. So
Hey, yo.
I'm not sure. Max, wifey hates the idea. She's completely against me getting it, but I said I'm going to get it, and I'm doing it. So that's coming up next weekend. But I hope we get a chance to ride,
Hey, yo.
go on some trips with him. You know what I'm saying? Sierra style. And then yeah, my PMP, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just studying. I'm studying like crazy. I'm trying to get this by the beginning of April as my cutoff date. So I'll completely focus on this, man, and my health and working out and getting my body better. So this year started off right, man. Everything we talked about going into the end of last year about starting routines and following through and staying committed and staying consistent. I'm still on track, and I'm glad we're about 24 days into the new year, and I can't say I fell off here. So definitely proud of that accomplishment.
Facts, man. And before I sign this off, last thing I want to say is this. We all just described three completely different situations, but we all striving, we all supporting each other, and we're making sure that regardless of what all of us is doing, we're all doing something and we're all getting stuff done. Like they have these, these little memes and things online where they be trying to like specifically say like, if your friend group isn't talking about going, going half on a condo in the freaking poor part of town, you guys aren't thinking. You know what I'm saying? And there's all these little things, but it's
That
like,
ain't what
bro,
it's about.
as long as you know the people you with is good people and they got good values and that they're keeping their head down and working hard and trying to strive for what they're doing, that's all that really matters. Because like what we was talking about, bro, at the end of the day, your life is your life. If everybody happy and if everybody not hurting nobody, that's all that really matters. So with that, I say stay
Mantequilla.
butter.